What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Beyond Meat. I want to go over some of the current data points, key levels to watch for, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Beyond Meat over the last several trading days has actually done fairly well. Some people might disagree with me on that, and that is completely fine. But given the nature of Beyond Meat and it being a very big momentum stock, it's done, again, fairly well. Overnight trading just started roughly around 3 minutes ago, and it's kind of flat. So that might be a pretty good thing for this upcoming week. But aside from that, though, there's a lot of chatter about fair value for Beyond Meat. So quickly popping back over here, so you can kind of see a lot of the quantitative data. I don't really bring this up on a daily basis in my videos, but it kind of breaks it down on whether Beyond Meat or any other stock is kind of a fair value. And right now, quantitative data as a whole is a strong sell with a 1.49 out of 5 rating. But if we kind of look at it, valuation right now is a B-. What's really dragging it down is profitability, and for right now, there really isn't any plan for profitability in my opinion. And then momentum as of late, it's been subpar. So it kind of does make sense why both of these are a F, but valuation is a B-, growth is a A-. So if we kind of look at the valuation, this is a little bit more of a snippet right here. It actually has a PS ratio because Beyond Meat isn't profitable, so that's kind of the best ratio to use to kind of compare and contrast stocks. But the PS ratio for Beyond Meat is 0.18. So essentially, based on this, it is fairly priced. At the same time, latest Morningstar report does show the fair market value being $25. There's a lot more kind of things behind their rating though. They don't just look at that, they kind of look at, and I think they use a higher multiple ultimately, but most recently there was a lot of other research firms saying $100. So Beyond Meat, definitely, I think this is why it's been holding up fairly well, is because it can be seen as a pretty good deal at these prices. And even, again, going back over here, you do have the growth aspect being a A-. So in general, as much as I've really kind of called out Beyond Meat and not really liked a lot of their things, it's still, I think for right now, based on the price action, it kind of does signal that there's a fair amount of value. And in general, with their upcoming earnings right around the corner, I think it's expected to be on the 25th. I don't believe that they've actually officially announced it just yet, but currently negative 10 cents is that earnings per share, and 63.79 million is that revenue estimate. Over the last 90 days, we have 1 positive and 0 negative revisions to the earnings per share. So there's a little bit of optimism, and as what we've seen in the past, the bar is set very low for Beyond Meat. So when it comes down to their earnings, they could potentially beat on their top and bottom line. And then, of course, what they give for future guidance, that'll be the make it or break it point kind of scenario for Beyond Meat. Just briefly looking here, this is historically what does happen. So not to sugarcoat it, is negative. So a good about 60-70% of the time, market always sees it as a negative and causes it to go down on average around 8%, give or take. So again, not necessarily the best, but the bar is set extremely low. Current implied move is 41.46%. So this upcoming earnings is the most volatile earnings that Beyond Meat has ever had. So ultimately, like a 29-cent move in either direction. So for those of you that are, not to say gamblers or anything, but yeah, if you believe in Beyond Meat, you can make some pretty good money just based on a quick swing trade. Of course, for those of you that like to do a little bit more complex trades, you can kind of see historically how a one-day long straddle or a short straddle or a long straddle, kind of how that plays out. So historically, a one-day short straddle is fairly advantageous, results in like a 40% return just based on that. Or if you do a 1 week, kind of extends that a little bit more to around 60%. So in general, let me know your viewpoint on Beyond Meat being and what their fair value is. as well as how you think that their earnings is truly going to be. Aside from that, going into this upcoming week, 30.15% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 131.83 million shares overall being shorted. So their upcoming earnings is going to be a pretty big thing. Hopefully they hit a home run and everyone makes a ton of money on Beyond Meat. Quickly popping over here though on the actual chart, like I said, it's actually done fairly well given the nature of what Beyond Meat is and so forth. So we might be seeing a nice potential push higher. 50-day moving average is always a big deal for momentum stocks, so that's sitting at 94 cents. So for whatever reason, if Beyond Meat can get to that post earnings, then you could see a very nice potential push higher. Last time Beyond Meat did break above that 50-day moving average was when it went on that very epic run. So at the end of the day, just kind of watch for that. Going back over here for 1 second just to give you a overview. So for those of you that want a dollar cost average swing trade with it at 71 cents, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 67, 65 is going to be support levels, 72, 76, and 79 is going to be the kind of target. So for those of you that want to swing trade, day trade, just kind of watch for that. But this upcoming week could be a potential big deal for the broader market, because on Wednesday as well as Friday we have a lot of big data. So for instance, Friday we have PCE and GDP, and on Wednesday we do have the FOMC minute. So the market's going to be really looking at how the members are orienting, whether they are still kind of inconsistent and all over the place, or if they're more kind of leaning towards and open to future rate cuts. So hopefully everyone had a good long weekend. One final thing, if you are looking for some solid buy signals, pop over to my Patreon. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.